Good morning. I'm going to call to order this meeting of the Monroe County Board of Commissioners. It's August 26, 2020. I'm joined by Commissioner Lee Jones and Commissioner Penny Githens. We have a full house, and we'll begin with the public statement read by Commissioner Jones.
We, the Monroe County Board of Commissioners, renew our commitment to welcome and protect the rights of all people, regardless of age, race, color, creed, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, marital status, economic status, and national origin. And we affirm the right of every person to live peacefully and without fear, and we will fight and resist at every step discrimination and harmful policies, whatever their source. We also stand in support of our community public school systems, both RBB and MCCSC.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Jones. And next we will move on to department updates. And first we have Ms. Penny Cottle from the Health Department.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. And I'm not quite sure where my camera is, but that's okay. I just soon be off camera. As of 8/25, we have had 968 positive cases and a 2.2% positivity rate for the last 7 days. So on a 7-day rolling average, is much lower than it's been. IU has started, those numbers have started coming in and being added to that dashboard. So we will continue to monitor that information, communicate with IU so that we can look at Indiana University, we can look at the general community and then the community as a whole. So we can kind of watch what's happening in those different realms. At the end of July, our 7-day average rate had reached 5.1%, and then it came back down to 4.8. And so coming back down to 2.2 is good news, but it's also a reminder that we need to continue to do the things that we're doing to keep everyone safe. On the unfortunate side, we have added some deaths recently to our county counts, and we never want to lose any life. Any loss of life is tragic and what we want to avoid. So again, a reminder that we're asking people to maintain that physical distance, to wear their face covering when they're around people outside of their immediate family, in public, when they can't maintain those 6 feet, so that we can protect one another. Our department is following up on complaints that we receive regarding the county's health order and health regulation. I do want to take this time to say that in terms of businesses, we are working with them. If we get a complaint about a business, as long as they have a plan in place that is reasonable and good and it follows the guidelines, and they are taking every effort to hold to that, maintain that, that's what we are looking for those businesses. We recognize that you can have a very large facility, for example, and people can come in masked and they may take that mask off when they're doing something in the facility. And those things can be much harder to monitor. We are not taking complaints on individuals. So keep that in mind as you are someplace. Recognize whether or not the business is attempting and making every effort to follow the orders and the regulations, and complaints on those businesses who are really intentionally violating that ordinance is what we would really like to see, versus people who are trying their very, very best and having difficulty. The other thing that I do want to say in terms of regulations is that the gathering size within the city that was lowered to 15 is part of the city order, and complaints regarding those gathering sizes being over 15 need to be sent to the city and not to the county. The other thing that I would like to remind everybody is we are coming into flu season, and it is going to be very important for everyone to get their flu vaccine. I would say that every year. This year it is even more important. So please make arrangements to get your flu shot now. Do it early before flu season hits. And it's never too late, but with COVID in our midst, we really want people to get flu vaccine early so that we can limit the hospitalizations, possible hospitalizations. And just because the symptoms can be very similar, at times we want to be able to rule out influenza as much as possible. So please make plans to get that. We are trying to work out some community clinics. I'll have more information on those as plans unfold. And that's what I have today.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cottle. Always informative and always helpful. Questions or comments, Commissioner Jones?
No, just thank you and your department for all you're doing.
Thank you.
Commissioner Githens?
Agreed. What's going on is phenomenal.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted a little, if you could provide a little clarification on the exemption request for large gatherings. What would that entail geographically?
So if the exemption is outside of the city limits and is over 50 for a private gathering, if it's a venue, if it's a commercial business, then the limits are 100 inside and 150 outside city limits. So, or outside, outdoors. So if you are outside the city limits, then the gathering size limits apply in terms of the county order. So for the county outside the city limits, it is 50 for a personal gathering, social gathering, and for commercial events, it's 100 or 150, depending on whether you are inside or out. Now, did that answer your question, Commissioner Thomas, and did it make sense? Because I know I stumbled.
No, it's great. I appreciate that. So if somebody has a request and they live inside the city, what should they do?
They should contact the city. I believe it's the city legal department to ask them about that exemption. I do not have a phone number handy, but I would assume that that is on their website as well. We have a process online, so for county exemptions, they can fill out that exemption and describe their plans, what they're doing, so that we can hopefully allow that event, because we know that they're taking all the precautions that they need to.
Excellent. No, that answers all of the questions I had. Thank you so much, Ms. Cottle. We appreciate you as always, and everyone on your staff for all your hard work every day, juggling so many things, and now flu shots. So yes, that's a good reminder to everyone. Thank you so much. Next, we will turn to Ms. Allison Moore, Emergency Management Director.
Good morning. Good morning. I wanted to give a few updates. We are currently working with the departments on their COOP plans. I know that was asked a couple weeks ago, and I told you we were in the process. And so I have to report that we have received over half of those back from our departments, which is a good start. And I appreciate all those department heads that have been able to tackle that with all their other duties that they have. We reached out to all those departments yesterday that had not submitted those reports yet, and just as a friendly reminder to just remind them and put that back up on top of their in their inbox. Sometimes we get so busy that things get buried, as we all know. And then Kate's reaching out to each of those people again today just to offer to set up a Zoom call if we can assist with them in the next couple weeks, one-on-one, to help walk them through that template and see how we might be able to gather that information and actually place it in there for them if they need that. So anyway, it'll be a couple weeks process before hopefully I can come back and maybe even in a month and say, okay, we finally gotten everybody back, and I'll be happy to report that. And I do think that's going to happen real close in our near future. So quick update for that. We do have some weather coming in this weekend from the hurricane season. So around Friday evening, late in the evening until Saturday, please be on alert. We'll probably be sending some messages out. We probably will potentially have some trees down, which means we'll probably potentially have some roads closed. And so, of course, all that will go on our county Facebook, and we'll also, of course, send those notifications out via Everbridge. If in fact you have not signed up for that, you can sign up for our mass notification system. And it is on our county website. There's a little big megaphone and it says Monroe Alert, and you can click there and it will walk you through that. Of course, our office is always willing to help those individuals that may not be savvy on the computer or have access to the computer. You're always welcome to make a phone call to our office at 812-349-2546. And we, of course, on the back end are always willing to help those individuals get set up for that system. And you can get text messages, emails, and phone calls. So you can actually receive all three, or each of those individually separately if you choose to only receive those one way. And then lastly, I just want to mention again, actually not my last, but I want to mention the blood drives. We had a successful blood drive this week. All the spots were filled. Everybody showed up, is my understanding, and they collected 34 units of blood. So wonderful, all of those individuals, including Commissioner Githens, who was able to make that donation again this time around. And we continue to get wonderful feedback from the Red Cross on all the work that the county is doing behind the scenes and all the work that individuals are doing that are residents that are making those donations. So thank you to all those that do all that work. It's just been, at this point, it's very easy and smooth sailing to make those scheduled and get those upcoming blood drives. So I think we finally got through a lot of those hiccups in the beginning, and we're a great team, and I'm very happy to have that partnership with the Red Cross. And then the remainder of the dates for the 2020 year are September 29th, October 22nd, November the 9th, and December 21st. And all four of those will be by appointment only to make those donations for through the redcross.org website. They will all be held at the Monroe County Convention Center. And then the last announcement that I would like to make is we do still have masks and face shields available to anyone in our public, a Monroe County resident that does in fact need those if they need to be out and about. And we have those at various spots throughout our community. We continue to have people come and pick those needs up. And then we, of course, at our office continue to fill those various locations to make sure that they have them available to continue to hand out to our public. And the list is on our county website at co.monroe.in.us. And that is all I have.
Great. Thank you so much, Ms. Moore. Questions or comments, Commissioner Jones?
Not right now.
Commissioner Githens?
I know that with the bad weather coming in, one of the other things that you always address also, Ms. Moore, is road flooding that can occur with heavy rains and stuff. And so people need to be aware of that. Also, with the blood donation, there has to be an 8-week delay between when you donate. So I can't come to the next one. I'm sorry, but you know, that's the Red Cross requirement.
Excellent. Thank you so much. And we appreciate all the hard work that goes on to make that a reality. And I know you're still working with all of the agencies who are providing face coverings for residents, and I appreciate that as well. So check out the emergency management website for a list of places in case you still need face covering provided by Monroe County Emergency Management. Thank you so much. All right, I don't see Ms. Ridge on the call, so I imagine that there aren't any updates on roads for today. So, and actually she's on vacation, so good for her. So with that, let's move on to our proclamation. And so today as Women's Equality Day, Commissioner Jones, would you like to start?
Yes, thank you. Whereas the Declaration of Sentiments was signed in Seneca Falls, New York in 1848 and included the statement, "We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men and women are created equal." Advocates for women's suffrage came from reform movements in the US, including the anti-slavery and temperance movements, and from those working on issues related to labor rights and public health. Following the Civil War, the question of race became divisive within the women's suffrage movement, as women were left out of the proposed 15th Amendment, granting African American men the right to vote. It was feared if women were included in the amendment that it would surely fail. There are two main movements for suffrage in the United States. The American Women's Suffrage Association, or AWSA, focused on attaining the right to vote for women on a state-by-state basis. Some advances in suffrage were made as Western territories became states. However, the gains were uneven. In some cases, women only had the right to vote in municipal elections. The National Women's Suffrage Association, NWSA, focused on an amendment to the US Constitution. The two groups combined forces in 1890, becoming the National American Woman Suffrage Movement, NAWSA. Women lobbied members of Congress, organized petitions, utilized the courts, and organized speaking tours throughout the nation, at factory gates, in church halls, and in city squares.
Based on her belief that the NAWSA's tactics were timid, in 1913, Alice Paul organized a parade in Washington, D.C. to counter President Wilson's inauguration parade. In 1917, with American troops fighting in World War I, the Alice Paul's National Women's Party picketed the White House, an act that was unheard of, especially in wartime. They asked, "President Wilson, how long must women wait for liberty?" Women suffered verbal and physical assaults, and many were jailed, where they endured forced feeding, and they organized a hunger strike. Indiana's first convention for women's political, economic, and social rights was held in Dublin, Indiana. The Women's Franchise League and the Equal Suffrage Society were also organized in the state. Madam C.J. Walker worked to ensure that African American women were included in these campaigns for suffrage. In 1887, Susan B. Anthony visited Bloomington to speak on behalf of women's suffrage. She was invited by Maud Showers, who was at that time a partner in the Showers Furniture Company. The women's suffrage movement demonstrated that a range of tactics was necessary to achieve social progress. From the moderates who petitioned Congress to the radical women who picketed at the White House in wartime, women and men advanced the cause. On August 26, 1920, 100 years ago today, the 19th Amendment was ratified, granting women the right to vote. Quote, "The right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of sex," end quote.
Whereas the 19th Amendment did not end the fight for all American women, as Indigenous and immigrant women continue to struggle for the right to vote. Indigenous women were not granted this right until 1924, and Chinese Americans in 1943. African American women and men were prohibited from voting in the South, hampered by Jim Crow policies like the poll tax, violence, and other forms of suppression. Barriers to casting a ballot exist to this day, disproportionately impacting communities of color. Mary McLeod Bethune, the founder of the Black Girls School in Daytona, Florida, refused to let the Klan intimidate her when she cast her ballot in 1920. She wrote this, quote, "We live in a world which respects power above all things. Power intelligently directed can lead to more freedom. Unwisely directed, it can be a dreadful, destructive force. We encourage Monroe County voters to honor the sacrifices made to attain the right to vote and to cast their ballot in the 2020 general election. The Board of Commissioners hereby declare August 26, 2020 as Women's Equality Day in Monroe County, commemorating the 100th anniversary of the ratification of the 19th Amendment of the Constitution, granting national suffrage rights to women. This week, the courthouse will be lit in purple and gold, the colors adopted by the women's suffrage movement, reflecting the movement's historic slogan, "Forward through the darkness, forward into the light." We thank all of the folks who have made the lighting of the courthouse possible, and thanks to Liz Feidel. And we've just been told that the Indiana Memorial Union will also be lit in gold and purple, and we are all wearing our suffrage white today as well. So it's a real pleasure to have this proclamation presented to the public today. And with that, we'll see if there is any public comment for items not on our agenda. Please remember, this is limited to items not on our agenda, 3 minutes per person. And at 2 minutes 30, you will hear an audio tone. Ms. Dayton, if you would play that audio tone, please. Great, thank you, Ms. Dayton. When you hear that, you have 30 seconds remaining in your speaking time. Is there anyone today who wishes to offer public comment?
There do not appear to be any hands raised.
After all of that, that's sad, but good. Okay, so we have had that opportunity, and we will have public comment with each of our items for vote today. Ms. Jones, would you proceed to the next item, please?
You need to unmute.
Sorry, my dogs were making quite a fuss. Move approval of minutes for August 19th, 2020.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Any comments, questions, or edits?
Not for me.
No?
All right, seeing none. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the approval of the minutes for August 19th, 2020?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
Thank you, Mr. Cockrell. Next item, please.
Approval of the claims docket, accounts payable August 26th, 2020, and payroll August 28th, 2020.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Good morning, Mr. Miller.
Good morning, Commissioners. The total for claims was $1,486,156.54. $546,618.09 was for riverboat distribution for 2020. $208,459.80 was for food and beverage tax distribution for the month of July. And $158,819.22 was for NAR solutions. As far as payroll is concerned, the total was $1,532,836.74. $1,080,407.44 were for direct costs, and the remaining $452,429.30 were for indirect costs.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. We appreciate you. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
No, not now.
Commissioner Githens?
No, thank you.
Any public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised.
Okay, seeing none. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on accounts payable August 26, 2020 and payroll for August 28, 2020?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Before we move on to the next item, I have skipped an item that is very important, and I apologize. Ms. Barb Uli, who is the township trustee in Washington Township, has so kindly come today to offer us a report on the Township Assistance Fund, which the commissioners and council worked on together. So if we could go to Ms. Uli next, that would be fabulous for her report on the funds and how they're being used thus far in the townships throughout Monroe County. Thank you for your patience. I apologize.
No problem. I will make this brief. I know everybody's very busy, but I just, what we are doing with the county's funds. I'm in a hot building, so I've got my earbuds in. I first wanted to explain a little bit how we are arriving at each township's allotment of the $100,000 that has been given to the Township Association for COVID relief. We did a combination of the ALICE distribution, our 2019 AFR, and our 2020 budget direct relief for township assistance. Michelle Bright, who is our vice president, combined all those factors and then gave us the allotments that each township would then receive of that $100,000 to use. And in doing so, that it created some concerns by the smaller townships that we don't necessarily, and Washington is one of them, that we aren't necessarily going to be as impacted as the larger townships. Our concern was that Bloomington Township, Perry, Van Buren, that they are the ones that see the most, they see the most township assistance requests to start, and then they also have the most residents living on someone else's property. Washington Township really does not have a whole lot of landlords within our township. So what it was decided was that we split up the funds evenly throughout the entire county for all townships. And then when townships opt not to use those funds and the larger townships have used all of their funds, then we will meet again and reallocate the existing remainder. The smaller townships, Salt Creek, Polk, just Washington, we're just not sure that we are going to be the best recipients of those funds. And we want to make sure that it goes to where it's most needed. That being said, I have, as Secretary Treasurer of the Township Association, I have written 2 checks out of the first allotment of $25,000. The first one is to Perry Township, which I believe you have the 2 pages that I sent you to review. But basically, Perry Township paid $8,202.63 above their normal allotment of what they would pay to their requests for township assistance. And it shows what Perry Township paid and what the Commissioners Fund paid on each one. We've removed the names and have gone to the PO number so that if it needs to be made public, it can be made public. Bloomington Township has requested, and I have sent them a check for $4,034.05 for their allotment. That was through the 10th of September.
Okay.
And that is all I have.
Right. Thank you so much. And these funds have been utilized for rent and utilities, correct?
Yes. Yes.
Great. So excellent to see a good use of these funds. Any questions or comments, Commissioner Jones?
Just really nice to see all the township trustees cooperating so well to take care of the needs of everyone in our county.
Yes.
Thank you. I believe that of your current township trustees, I believe we all are more than willing to work together for the good of the entire county. We realize that it's not just us, that what we do affects everybody.
So thank you.
Commissioner Githens?
I'd just like to remind people today that today is also the last day that they can apply for assistance through the state. And that's at www.indianahousingnow.org. But it's the very last day that they can apply for this assistance, whereas the township assistance will be available going forward.
Absolutely. Yes, and for anybody who may be facing a shortfall in their ability to pay for shelter and utilities and all the basic necessities of life, please contact your township trustee. It may be Ms. Uli and it may be somebody else, but every Monroe County resident, whether they live in the city or not, or in the town or not, is inside of a township, and your township trustee and their staff have a ton of information and a ton of resources available for you. And this, so proud that the Board of Commissioners and the County Council work together to create this Township Assistance Fund to cover the fact that we understand that COVID-19 has led to additional needs throughout our community, and that's clear in just this first report. So a big thank you to every one of our township trustees, and thank you, Ms. Uli, for coming today to provide us this update, and we look forward to hearing from you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, and with that, we will move on to our new business, and item A, please.
Move to approve the 2020 Sophia Travis Community Services
Yeah,
Grant.
please be quiet. I'm going to speak.
Fund name, County General, fund number 1,000, in the amount of $130,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, and we have Ms. Munson from the County Council to present this to us today. Ms. Munson.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm here wearing white as well. And I'm here on behalf of the Council to present to you contracts for awards of grants from the Sophia Travis Grants Community Services Fund. We have had a usual, very busy series of considerations. We had 34 applicants who requested a total of $243,565 in funding. We had to narrow this to the amount in our fund, which was $130,000. And we did so based on the evaluation criteria and areas of support. Joining me in making recommendations to the council were council members Kate Wiltz and Eric Spoonmore, and members of the public, Rachel Guglielmo and Ryan Boyce. So thank you to all of them for their hard work. The applicants' projects will serve 1,100 clients in Monroe County. So let me now read to you the agencies, the project they are proposing, and the award amounts. Alexandra's Food Drive, to create a children's nonprofit food drive, $1,400. All Options Pregnancy Resource Center for their diaper program, $4,060. Amethyst House, for residential food, $4,010. Big Brothers Big Sisters of South Central Indiana for continuing their program called Bigs with Badges, $5,110. Bloomington Refugee Support Network, they have a support system for refugees, and the award is $2,800. Bloomington St. Vincent de Paul, we have an award to their truck maintenance and repair fund of $4,560. For the Boys and Girls Club of Bloomington, for their youth summer programming, $4,050. Catholic Charities of Bloomington, for their parent coaching program, $2,080. Community Justice and Mediation Center for supplies and scholarships, $2,640. Community Kitchen of Monroe County for food purchases, $4,600. Courage to Change Sober Living, the starter house kits, $2,950. Grace Center Food Pantry for food purchases, $2,300. Habitat for Humanity of Monroe County, site preparation funds for their new subdivision, $4,500. Hoosiers Feeding the Hungry, their Meet the Need program, $4,000. Hotels for Homeless, a new program sponsored by New Leaf New Life for a technology upgrade. They were awarded $2,500. Indiana Recovery Alliance for education and also naloxone supplies, $4,800. Lotus Education and Arts Foundation for their puzzle project, $1,830. Middle Way House Incorporated for childcare, $4,880. Midway Music Speaks for an education initiative, $2,400. Monroe County Health Department for sharps disposals, $3,490. Monroe County United Ministries for their self-sufficiency program, $4,160. My Sister's Closet of Monroe County for job training and education online, $2,950. New Hope for Families for their Responding with Equity program, $6,880. New Leaf New Life for support materials, $4,610. Pantry 279 Incorporated. This is for their mobile outreach program, $5,700. Planned Parenthood of Indiana and Kentucky, financial assistance for medical supplies, $5,900. Safe Families for Children Alliance, for their general program, $4,850. Shalom Community Center for building upgrade and renovation, $6,385. Sojourn House Incorporated, a new shelter for renovation, furnishing, and equipment, $3,585. Stepping Stones of Centerstone of Indiana, funding for their youth support program, $5,450. Team First Book, library supplies for low-income families, $2,250. The Warehouse, for developing their mobile warehouse, $4,120. And Wheeler Mission for operating support, $4,200, for a grand total of $130,000. And I would like to note that people who are interested in knowing more about these organizations and the programs that they planned, they may turn to a CAT's video made on June 29th at the County Council meeting, where each of the applicants gave a 3-minute presentation about their project and organization. So thank you, commissioners.
Thank you, Councilor Munson. We appreciate you. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
Well, I'd like to really thank the County Council for making this money available to the community. As a former council member, I'm very aware of the fact that the requests always far exceed the amount that's available. And these are not easy decisions to make. It takes a whole lot of work. So thank you for the work you put in, and thank you for the money you make available.
Okay.
Commissioner Githens, comments or questions?
Yeah, I just want to echo my thanks. There was a really wonderful article, I believe it's in yesterday's local paper, about the Project Alexandra's Food Drive, and it was titled Alexandra's Army, because she's putting together young children to create help for others, which was just a phenomenal story.
Yes.
Yeah. And I would echo sentiments of my colleagues. It is hard work to pick and choose, to identify. I mean, the funding needs way exceed what we can provide, and so many agencies are they're working double time and have been since the COVID pandemic began. So a huge thank you for those tough decisions, but great choices. I cannot fault a one of them. They're fabulous. So thank you to your colleagues, to the folks who served from the community on the committee. It's a tough job, but it's a great day when Monroe County can help out these fine agencies that support everyone. And with that, we'll see if there's any public comment on this item.
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton.
Sorry, one hand just raised.
Oh, okay, good. Excellent.
Hello.
Mr. Kane, welcome.
Hi. Could I get the information about the CATS video again so that I could review the presentations for these grants?
Yeah.
The dates, maybe, what I should ask them for?
Glad to. That was June 29th.
June 29th, okay. June 29th, okay. And what meeting am I asking for, or the presentations?
It was a special meeting of the county council and the committee for Sophia Travis grants consideration.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Kane. We appreciate you.
Good job. Good meeting.
All right.
Thank you.
And is there anyone else from the public who wishes to speak today?
No, there are no hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. With that, Mr. Cockrell, please call the roll on, maybe my time's up. Will you please call the roll on the 2020 Sophia Travis Community Services Grant contracts?
Yes. Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Grant contracts are approved 3-0.
Thank you. And thank you again, Councilor Munson, for being here today and presenting the fine efforts of the council. All right, with that, we'll move on to the next item, please.
Move to approve Smithville Internet Agreement. Fund name, Public Safety Lit, Fund number 1170-30072, in the amount of $800 per month, plus a non-recurring amount of $1,500.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Good morning, Mr. Evans.
Good morning, Commissioners. So this is an agreement between Monroe County and Smithville to provide fiber optic bandwidth to the new emergency management building that was recently constructed out of the highway garage compound. As you know, we've got the emergency center there. Also, we have one of our data centers there. So having reliable, fast bandwidth is very important out there. It is a 5-year contract. We got a significant discount by extending it to 5 years because obviously that building is not going anywhere and we're going to need that bandwidth for a good long time. So it's always really nice to be able to do a contract like this with a local vendor like Smithville. We're very lucky to have a large telecom company providing service here. They definitely understand that, you know, with us being the county government, there are times when we need extra bandwidth, and they're always very quick to deploy extra resources for us in an emergency. So it's a very good contract, and I hope you approve it this morning.
Thank you so much, Mr. Evans. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
Yes, this is needed, and I'm glad it's happening.
Commissioner Githens?
Yeah, it's nice that it'll be there when they move in. Does this also cover the weights and measures office that'll be out there?
Yes, it does. Yeah, the weights and measures are in the same building. Actually, his vehicle is in a slightly different building, but yeah, he'll be using this bandwidth as well.
I only ask because I know he's going to more of an electronic kind of tracking for what he's doing. So
that is correct.
Great, thank you. And thank you, Mr. Evans, for negotiating a great contract. You are very good at this. We appreciate you so much. Excellent. With that, is there any public comment on the Smithville Internet Agreement?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the Smithville Internet Agreement?
Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
yes.
The Smithville agreement is approved 3-0.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Evans. Next item, please.
Move to approve Indiana University agreement for contact tracing regarding COVID-19.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Call, tell us all about it.
Yes, well, I will say some of this work is already going on. Indiana University, much like other universities, have formed a group within their university to do contact tracing and have hired numerous people. In most cases, these universities have hired more people than we have in our own local health departments. So it's a wonderful opportunity for us to, again, work closely together. They will be handling students and faculty on on-campus related positives for COVID-19, and they'll do the contact tracing for those. We, of course, will be working very closely with them and handling close contacts that may not be affiliated with the university. So close working relationship. We always work very closely with them on communicable disease follow-up. But this is a special circumstance and an MOU so that we can share the information that we need in order for them to do that. And that we can just clearly define our roles and how the operation will work. We have this contract or this agreement through the end of June of 2020. And should we need it to go beyond that, then we will renew it.
Excellent. Thank you.
Do you mean
so
June
much.
of 2021?
Yes, did I say 2020? Yeah. Sorry. Yes, June of 2021.
Right.
Yes.
With that, that's all right. It feels like a Monday, but I know it's not. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
Yes, thank you to IU for shouldering this very important task.
Right.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens?
I just want to, yesterday I heard Dr. Beth Rupp speak. She's the head of the health center on campus, and she was talking about the fact that they still have a 1% positivity rate, and these are for people who are asymptomatic. And so we need to keep in the front of our heads that a lot of people are carriers that don't even know it themselves. And so the work that's being done both on campus and by our health department is critical to keeping things moving.
Yeah. And I would add that, this is a good example of IU's efforts to responsibly deal with the influx of a number of students from all across the country and the world. and to try to bring them into our community safely. But there are so many things that cannot be managed. And so we do rely on the IU students to behave appropriately and to wear face coverings. You know, it's a burden on them to be responsible, and I can't think of anything that IU hasn't done to work on this. So the one question I had about this, so this contract tracing is, let's say there's an IU student who works somewhere in the community, you know, outside of campus, off campus, and they test positive. So that's how you're working together with the contact tracing, so that you can follow them through the community, right?
Exactly. So they would handle when let's say that student is positive, they'll do that interview as opposed to the state contact tracers or us. And when they identify those close contacts, if they are other students, then the university tracers will handle those people. If they have community contacts, like at work or they went to a concert or something like that, then those would come to our nurses or to the state to follow up on. Same way if they had contacts that were at home in another state or another city, those would be sent to that jurisdiction.
Excellent information, and just a good time to remind everybody in the community to please cooperate with contact tracers if you are contacted by one of them. It's very important that we do this to protect all of our residents, and that includes IU students, but everyone in the community to be protected. We all need to cooperate.
Right. Yeah, one of the most important things, I mean, we talk about all the prevention that we do, but once somebody is identified as a case that they've been tested or they are a contact to somebody, it is vital that they isolate or quarantine for the prescribed amount of time, depending on their situation. So quarantine is for 14 days since your last exposure. And so if you are living with somebody, for example, and you cannot separate, have separate bathrooms, and you know, there may be families where a person can be positive and they can isolate away from the rest of the family. So the family can quarantine, the other person can isolate, and their times will be what they are for each of them. But if you can't do that, that can extend that quarantine time, because if I'm positive and I am in isolation for at least 10 days, and my family members cannot quarantine away from me, their quarantine does not start until I'm released from isolation. So we can be talking not about 14 days, but sometimes about 24 days or longer, depending on the family situation. So very, very important to be able to isolate and quarantine, because that's how we can intervene and stop the spread of the infection.
All right, excellent information as always. Thank you so much for that. Is there any public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the agreement with Indiana University for contact tracing?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Giffens.
Yes.
The contact tracing agreement is approved 3-0.
Thank you so much, Mr. Cockrell. Next item, please.
Oh, I'm sorry. Move to approve HealthNet Foundation Restricted Donation Agreement. Fund name, Local Health Maintenance, Fund number 1168, in an amount not to exceed $15,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Cottle, will you share some more information with us, please?
Yes, we have had an agreement with Volunteers in Medicine for many years now for prenatal care, to help fund prenatal care for people who are falling through the cracks. They don't have prenatal care insurance. So just to ensure that they get the care that they need so that they can carry that pregnancy to term and have a healthy delivery. So we are happy to continue that. This is really just replacing the agreement that we had with Volunteers in Medicine. And it's taken us, honestly, a little bit of time. COVID didn't have anything to do with that, but it has taken us a little bit of time to work through the process now that HealthNet has a different, organizational setup as opposed to Volunteers in Medicine. So we had to work through some of those dynamics, but it is essentially the same contract or agreement that we had with Volunteers in Medicine for this. And we use local health maintenance funds to provide the funds, and that is tobacco tax settlement money.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
Not right now.
Commissioner Githens?
Well, I mean, there's all kinds of research that indicates that prenatal care provides better outcomes for both moms and babies, and this actually saves money when it's used, when money is spent this way in the long term. So thank you so much for seeing this through.
Yeah, good point. And we still continue to have a maternal mortality problem in the state that's just outrageous and unacceptable. So anything we can do is great. Is there any public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised.
All right, thank you, Ms. Dayton. With that, Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the HealthNet Foundation Restricted Donation Agreement?
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Githens?
Yes.
Agreement is approved 3-0.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Ms. Cottle. We appreciate you. All right, next item, please.
Move to approve Cassidy Electric Agreement for the Sheriff's Substation, Fund Name 2016 GO Bond, Fund Number 4808-42505, in the amount of $4,600.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We get to spend some time with Ms. Whitmer today at Parks and Recreation. What can you tell us about this first item?
This is our proposed new garage at the Sheriff's Substation on the Limestone Greenway. This will provide electricity to that new garage. And unfortunately on the agenda F is the garage. So it's electricity's coming before. Do you want me to talk about the garage now or?
Well, we'll wait on that. Okay. It's fun to do things a little, throw electricity out there and then put a building to it. Yeah, it's good. Yeah. Good. Excellent. Very good. Let's see if there are comments or questions for Commissioner Jones.
No, somehow it seems to me that we've been talking about this garage for a long, long time. I'm glad to see it actually happening.
Excellent.
Commissioner Githens?
Yeah, when I first saw this on the agenda, I'm like, wait a minute, I walked that trail over the weekend and there's no new garage there. So what's this doing on the agenda? But thank you.
Yes, no, I appreciate the work of the Parks Board to make this happen and the Sheriff's Department as well. This is a perfect synergy use of this property. So I appreciate the work everybody's done to make this happen. Is there any public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on Cassidy Electric Agreement for the Sheriff's Substation?
Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Githens?
Yes.
Agreement is approved 3-0.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move to approve Graver Post Buildings Agreement for Substation. Fund Name 2016 GO Bond. Fund Number 4808-42505, 42505 in the amount of $15,507.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Now let's talk about that substation. Ms. Whitmer, please.
Currently, there's a shed on the property, and we've been working with building and planning. Will be, I'm not sure if they're going to give us a demo permit or we may not need one, I'm not sure, but the Parks Department staff will remove the shed and we will dispose of it properly. We will prep the site for Graber Post, and they will erect a garage that's 28 feet by 12 with 2 overhead doors on each end. The Parks Department will use the one side, and the other side will be used by the Sheriff's Department for safety equipment. This is a needed a maintenance shed and safety shed for the sheriff. The sheriff also will provide $5,000 toward this project.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Comments or questions? Commissioner Jones?
Just, it's been a long time coming.
Yes.
It has. Commissioner Gibbons?
Thank you for getting this put in place.
Yep, I appreciate it. And you know, some of that sheriff safety equipment includes the bicycles, correct, for the trail?
I suspect he's putting bicycles and also the Polaris, his ATV also in there, and anything else that he might need for his officers to use.
Excellent. And you know, anything we can do to improve safety on the trail and to make maintenance easier and take less time to get equipment out is a good thing. We appreciate, again, the Sheriff's Department providing some of the funding and of course the Parks Board and working together magnificently to create something that benefits the community. With that, are there any questions or comments from the public?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the Graber Post Buildings Agreement for the substation?
Yes. Commissioner Thomas?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner Githens?
Yes.
The agreement is approved, 3-0.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move to approve resolutions 2020-12 and 2020-13, parks surplus property.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Whitmer, can you talk about this, please?
We have 2 surplus resolutions that the Parks Board voted to approve. Surplus Resolution 2020-12, which is 2 Skag mowers and a Cushman truckster, and Surplus Resolution 2020-13, which is a Volvo skid steer that was replaced by the Bobcat skid steer that the commissioners purchased in 2020.
Great, thank you so much. So these items are available for sale or disposal. Is that correct, Mr. Cockrell?
I think they're also looking at whether the cost to sell them outweigh the value. And I think there's also some thought that there may be, at least for the items under 5,000, the 2 items under 5,000, that there may be a trade-in value that's greater than the auction value for those properties. So that's included in the resolution, or in the resolution as a private sale.
Right, good deal. Thank you. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
Not right now.
Commissioner Githens?
No, I just like the fact that you include pictures with your exhibits. Thank you.
Yeah, most people don't know what a truckster is. They don't make them anymore.
I don't think I'd ever seen one before, so I guess it's like seeing a species before it becomes extinct, just before it becomes extinct.
And it looks pretty beat up, I gotta say.
Yeah, well used. All the equipment is well used. Is there any public comment or questions on this item?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the resolutions 2020-12 and 2020-13?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
The resolutions are approved 3-0.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Move to approve Bluestone Tree Agreement for services at Flatwoods Park. Fund name, Parks Non-Reverting, Fund number 1179-30006 in the amount of $1,388.
Second.
We have a motion and we have a second. Ms. Whitmer.
Yes, we have a few trees that need to come down or topped at Flatwoods Park, and these particular trees have targets, either the county road or the county guardrail, electrical, or a fire hydrant, or one of our own bridges. So that's why we would like for them to come down in a controlled manner.
Thank you. Comments, questions, Commissioner Jones?
Yes, I assume that the trees that are being topped, it's because of electrical wires.
No, actually, we think we don't need to take them down. That's the only reason. No, they're more into the park. They're more by our bridge. We believe that they may be able to survive. We're not sure. That's why we're topping those two. But it has nothing to do with electrical lines on those two.
So are the tops dead, or what makes it necessary to top them?
Well, they're ash trees, and with emerald ash borer, there's been a lot of dead ash trees. The other option is to take the whole tree down.
Right.
There isn't a good resolution to this. We're just thinking that we might be able to top them, and if they do come down, when they fall, they'll be short enough they won't hit anything. That's basically it. They're going to come down at some point in time soon.
I'd also like to thank you for not removing the trees once they're down. Allowing trees to rot back into the ground is the way that forests keep their nutrient levels high enough so that they can keep on existing. So it is kind of important whenever possible to just leave them.
Oh, yes, we have room. They can leave them, the little critters, and everything can have some good fun with it.
Great. Commissioner Githens?
No, but I'm really glad to learn things from Commissioner Jones as we go through things like this. So.
Yes, that's very true. And even the trees that get topped can become a great habitat for birds, woodpeckers especially. So they all play a role in the ecosystem. It doesn't have to look pristine, and in fact, it's better if it doesn't. So excellent work. Is there any public comment or questions on this item?
There are no hands raised.
Thank you, Ms. Dayton. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the Bluestone Tree Agreement for services at Flatwood Park?
Commissioner Thomas,
Yes.
Commissioner Jones,
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Agreement is approved 3-0.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Move to approve Riverway Plumbing and Mechanical Agreement for Karst Farm Park. Fund name, County General and Parks Non-Reverting. Fund number 101179 in the amount of $38,320.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Whitmer, I hope you're not tired of us yet. So tell us about this one.
Okay, this is approximately 2,000 feet linear of a water line that goes from Enright Road to our athletic complex restroom. We have multiple leaks. We cannot find the leaks. We believe that the leaks are going down probably in karst topography. This is clean water. This isn't wastewater, to clarify that. The pipe that is in there is not the best pipe. It has many connections. That is a bad combination. It can, many leaks will occur with this type of pipe. We want to replace it with poly pipe with only 7 connections, GPS locate on all the couplings, and trace wire. We've been working with the City of Bloomington engineers on this project, and this is the only option that we have. We've talked to numerous vendors to try to get the price down, and this is the best price for boring because we have many trees in the way. We have athletic utilities in the way, so boring is the best route to do. We need this restroom to get up and going as soon as possible.
Right. Excellent. Comments or questions, Commissioner Jones?
Yes, I'm a little surprised that lining the pipe wasn't a possibility. Is that because of the number of connections that there are?
Yeah, the connections could be having all the leaks on it, and plus then we don't want to dig it up. The trenching that distance through our trees and through all of our utilities, nothing good will come of it. So it is just best to bore a new line and get everything hooked up, and this pipe should last for years to come.
Thank you. Commissioner Githens?
I've been attending some of the Parks and Rec Board meetings, and so I've been hearing about this and I knew it was coming. So I'm glad that they've done such good work in trying to make it as economical as possible.
Are you saying, Commissioner Githens, that the information was leaked in advance?
Oh, stop.
All right, so yes, and we had some interesting questions come up at the council meeting last night where this was heard, but I have a quick question for you. Toward the bottom of Exhibit A, with the estimate, it says rock penetrations may cost and non-marked items. Does that mean that may add cost and non-marked item? Does that mean?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
That's typical in any contract is if there's rock, it's going to cost you more. We're just assuming we're not going to hit rock, we hope, but that's typical in any contract we do here in Monroe County. It's a rock price.
Right. Bedrock is very close to the surface, and of course we have lots of limestone. So you don't anticipate, though, that there's going to be an additional cost here because you know the terrain of Karsh Farm Park.
Yes, we believe so, and if not, I mean, we'll be coming back. This is the exact price, so we're going to hope for the best.
Great. Please do come back if anything else comes up. This is so important that we get this done. We don't want to waste the resources, and obviously it's not a good thing for this. So for the park to have this leak as well, it does create some ground disturbance. So excellent. Any public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Dayton. Mr. Cockrell, will you please call the roll on the Riverway Plumbing Mechanical Agreement for Karsh Farm Park?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Agreement is approved, 3-0.
Thank you, Ms. Whitmer, for all of your work today and for the Parks Board and your staff as well.
If I could say that I want to thank Jeff Cockrell and Margie Rice for working on all our projects and the commissioners for supporting the Parks Department and the Greenways. We do appreciate it. So thank you all.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. All right. With that, we'll move on to the next item, please, which is item J.
Move to approve additional money. Yes. Move to approve additional monies to Hoosier Hills Food Bank and Pantry 279. Fund name, Rainy Day, fund number 1186, in the amount of $30,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Ms. Purdy. She got back on, but she's still muted. Okay, well, I can.
You want me to speak to it?
Sure, I was gonna say, or I can offer some information. Go ahead, Mr. Cockrell, that would be great.
And this is similar to the presentation from Trustee Uli, and that we're seeing a lot of, and the food banks especially are seeing a lot of stress and anxiety caused by the current health emergency. And this is to provide additional funding so that they can continue their good work and do those things that are necessary to help make sure everybody has proper food and nutrition.
Yeah, very good. There is, oh, look at that. Who got those pictures out there? Who is that masked person? So yes, Ms. Githens and I were able to go out to the food bank last week. And there we are with the corn. Did you want to speak about your photos, Commissioner Githens?
Oh, last Friday just filled I mean, it's so uplifting in terms of my soul. There's Commissioner Thomas helping with some of it. Demand for food at the Hoosier Hills Food Bank is up 40% over what it was at this time last year. And last Friday, Commissioner Jones had another commitment that day, so she was unable to join us, but Commissioner Thomas and I went out to the food bank and joined the Indiana Army National Guard to help distribute the food. We were able to give food to 1,032 households last Friday in this Fresh Friday drive-through. And the way it's been organized by Hoosier Hills Food Bank is just phenomenal. They would not be able to do this, by the way, without the Guard, because the way it's being done is that people pull up in their vehicles, they open up the back of the vehicle, and the food is put in so that there's no contact between the distributors and the people. And you can see how long these lines are. They extended way out into the road. This was another record day for distribution. It just keeps going up. And one of the, for me, disturbing things I heard is that the Indiana Army National Guard will only be there to help with things like that through the end of September. We could petition the governor to try to get that extended. But if not, we will need, well, Hoosier Hills Food Bank, I don't know why I'm including myself, but we'll need additional volunteers to help distribute the food in this manner. It's a way that keeps people healthy, keeps people safe. And one of the women that drove through, it was very touching for me. She said, "You are saving people's lives." So I am so proud to be part of a group that keeps this going.
Yeah, and that line of vehicles was 40, 50 long throughout most of the morning and throughout most of the afternoon. And just as felt like the line was whittling down, more folks came, and people are bringing, there are veterans, there are a lot of retired folks, there are a lot of kids, families, and a lot of people who are just generously getting food for their neighbors who may not have transportation, and they're getting the food to bring back to them. So a lot of great community spirit, and beautiful looking watermelon and corn as well, which was I felt very Indiana to me, to have those two big bins of produce. So yeah, it's excellent. And, we just want to encourage the community to consider volunteering, to consider doing something to help the food bank and any of the great, wonderful food pantry and distribution networks around our county. There are many. I know I'm going to forget some, but we have Grace Food Pantry down in Harrodsburg, Mother Hubbard's Cupboard, Pantry 279. It's just amazing. And thanks for sending in the photos. It feels like show and tell. Thank you. And thank you, Ms. Dayton, for putting those up. So $25,000 will be going to Hoosier Hills Food Bank. We know they're going to need more. This is just sort of a stopgap, but they're ordering food now for the fall. And $5,000 is going to Pantry 279. for the purchase of food as well for the fall. I don't know, Ms. Purdy, did you have anything you wanted to add now that we have you back online?
No, you guys have done a fabulous job as always. And I think that it just speaks to how you guys are concerned and involved with our community. So I have nothing else to add, but thank you guys.
Yes, and we miss Commissioner Jones. I know she would have been there in a heartbeat if she had the moment to do it. She is so busy getting food out to the rest of the community and working so hard on the farm. So thank you for that. And I just want to make a note that this is rainy day funding that's already been allocated to the commissioners to spend on things like this. And then we're going to go back and look for reimbursement from FEMA and or CARES on this particular expenditure, as we're doing elsewhere with other funds and monies that we've spent. I know that I heard yesterday that we just got our first CARES reimbursement for business in the community. So I know that the money is coming and we're using it really well, I think, to prop up our community. So kudos to the food bank and the wonderful staff who put up with us. We had to actually do our press conference from there. It was a crazy day, but they were great. They're so flexible. And the National Guard, amazing, amazing folks, fun, interesting, dedicated to our community. So many thanks to everyone. Is there any public comment on this item?
There are no hands raised.
All right, seeing none, Mr. Copper, will you please call the roll on additional monies for Hoosier Hills Food Bank and Pantry 279?
Yes, Commissioner Thomas.
Yes.
Commissioner Jones.
Yes.
Commissioner Githens.
Yes.
Motion is approved, 3-0.
You kept us in suspense there. Thank you so much, Mr. Cockrell. We don't have any appointments today. I do want to remind everyone that now is a great time to think about board and commission work that you can do. How can you devote some of your energy, experience, wisdom, time to help your Monroe County government function better? And we appreciate everyone who serves on our boards and commissions now, and we just want to remind anyone who's interested to please go to co.monroe.in.us and fill out an application. Take a look at the boards and commissions, take a look at the requirements for residency. In some of our boards and commissions, we do have space for city residents, but most are for non-city, non-town of Ellisville residents. So just take a look. You can review minutes from previous meetings and learn a little bit more about those boards and commissions where you can make an impact and make a difference. And we would appreciate hearing from you. Just a reminder again that our county buildings are open by appointment only. Please contact the department that you wish to visit to set an appointment. Our fabulous Dina DeLauder-Myers is at the North Door Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 8 to 4. And she's handing out these decals. This is a bigger version for any business or social service organization in the community that would like one. And also she is a distribution point for face coverings provided by Monroe County Emergency Management. So thank you, Dina. There are a number of other locations where you can get your face coverings. Again, go to co.monroe.in.us. Remember to care for and launder and clean your face coverings. Otherwise, their efficacy is limited. We are making CARES funding available to all county businesses and social service organizations who have non-payroll COVID expenses that they did not budget for when the year started. So if you are a business or social service organization, you need some assistance, you can find out more information from our website. It's under the breaking news banner, co.monroe.in.us, to sign up, provide receipts. And again, we just, the turnaround has been fairly quick at the moment from the state. So we appreciate that. And please, you will find on that website, please find both the complaint form for businesses that are not complying with the county's health ordinance, and also the exemption form to request an exemption from the social gathering size for private gathering. And again, co.monroe.in.us, sign up for resident alerts. It is the place where you're going to be the first to know when a new health order is issued. You will be the first to know when there's a weather alert, road closure issues, whatever it may be. And again, we do expect inclement weather possible this weekend. So please, everyone, stay alert. Be sure to listen for those the weather sirens if it really becomes bad. I do want to remind everyone, as we had a PowerPoint at the beginning of our meeting, you must register to vote by October 5th in order to participate and cast a ballot in the November 2020 general election. So please do so. If you need more information, you can go to the websites, either the state's website, indianavoters.com, or you can go to monroecountyvoters.us for more information on everything from registration to mail-in ballots and early voting and election day information. And we need poll workers. Very important that we have sufficient number of poll workers to run our general election. Also, I'd like to note for everyone that the History Center is hosting a commemorative walk for Votes for Women. And it is Saturday, beginning at 10:30 a.m. It starts at the convention center, and then the walk takes you to back to the History Center, where they have some outdoor programming, although the weather does not look favorable. But let's hope maybe we can get this system through quick enough and we can have a beautiful, clear day to enjoy this. So if you want to participate, you do need to sign up in advance because they're ensuring social distancing is being adhered to with the groupings. Visit monroehistory.org and go to their events list for more information. It'll be great to see folks there. Bring your umbrella, apparently. Also, just a reminder, as a township trustee, Ms. Uli talked about at the beginning of our meeting, there is township assistance money available if you are concerned about shelter, utilities, the basic necessities of life. If you're facing a difficult time, please contact your trustee. Every county resident has a trustee, and we have worked with the Monroe County Council to provide funding to ensure that our residents are well taken care of. And thanks to everybody in our community for wearing your face covering. It's important that we demonstrate to our students, residents who have just arrived, why it's important that we do wear our face coverings, and it is because we love our community and we appreciate our business community, and we want to make sure that we are that we take care of one another. So I think it's a good way to demonstrate to the students how we take care of each other, and hopefully that will serve as another reminder to them to also wear their face coverings. Anything else for the good of the order, Commissioner Jones or Commissioner Gittens?
I did just want to mention that While unfortunately I was not able to join you two at Hoosier Hills Food Bank on Friday, my farm over the years has donated large amounts of produce to the Hoosier Hills Food Bank, and I'm very proud of that.
As well, you should be. That's excellent. That is absolutely excellent. We appreciate that.
Yeah. When people are hungry, their immune systems aren't as strong, other things happen. I wanted to comment about the attitude of the people that were serving with the Indiana National Guard. They're there to protect and serve, and they take that service part of it very, very seriously. What we saw last Friday was them doing something with joy, because they knew that they were helping others, and with energy and have a good day, ma'am, sir, whatever it was, but they were friendly and it was sincere. And even one of their regional commanders came down to be part of the day with us. And he's like, I've been hearing about what's going on here. And it's really good to see. And so they also believe in leading from the front. And that was also encouraging. But Commissioner Jones, thank you for what you've done over the years. It's made it makes a difference.
It makes a huge difference, especially the quality of produce that comes off of your farm. It makes a big difference.
Thank you.
So appreciate it.
It's always really worried my husband that children might not ever experience good quality produce. So this is something that he's really been dedicated to.
That's amazing. Excellent. And thank him as well. Anything else for the good of the order? Such a pleasure to serve with two fine women and our amazing staff and all of the folks in county government, especially on Women's Equality Day. Who would have thought 100 years ago that the Board of Commissioners in Monroe County would be all women? So, but we can't do it without everyone, and thank everyone in county government for all their hard work as we've endured the pandemic. We appreciate everybody's efforts and thoughtfulness as they proceed with their day and as they serve the community. Excellent. With that, we are adjourned. Thanks, everyone. Be well.